In 2019, while I was at the National Archives at Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria, I came across a document that reads, "Native Never Kiss. Kissing was imported with Western civilization. It is foreign to us." This particular assertion spurred me up and bring up my interest to find out that before we had a encounter with colonial authority, can't we argue that there had been some form of foreplay among the people, or it is an invention being invented by colonial authority to think of the fact that before we had a encounter with the colonial authority, there had been some form of sexual engagement, there had been some form of love languages among the natives before this encounter. Then to what extent do we agree or do we argue that the concept of foreplay, such as kissing, breast sucking, and ass grabbing, were something invented by colonial authority and introduced to the people? Apart from that, my thesis also argued that if we say kissing was introduced by colonial authority, then can we also argue that the concept of moaning was something strange to the native, or it was colonial invention or contemporary discovery? Apart from that, and looking back into Nigeria being a patriarchal society, it can then be argued that the concept of sexual engagement were just for two purposes. Number one, to fulfill the sexual pleasure of their male gender, and number two, for child production, while it totally negates the pleasure of the female gender. My methodology, I am interested in using historical method, whereby I will use archival documents, at the same time oral interview, using praises, ritual song, cognomen that are genuine to the people, and to demystify the assertion by this particular colonial document that emphasized that before we had encounter with colonial authority, there was nothing like orgasm, boob sucking, and that also probably boobs were being seen as a form of lactation or native engaged in foreplay. Thank you.